Hi, welcome to Yoga with Leslie. Thank you for joining me, my beautiful friends and family, and maybe strangers who will become friends. Welcome. So today's class, we're gonna move, we're gonna sweat, and we're gonna play. So let's start on the mat. In the best pose ever. I'm just kidding. It's the worst pose ever, chair. You're like, I'm going to skip to the next video right now, Leslie. This is not what I signed up for, which is fine. I'll see you another day, right? Okay, so in chair pose, bend the knees, start to sink the hips down, and bring the hands together, heart center. A yogi squat, right? Halfway squat. We could go down all the way to the ground, but we're going to stay with our booty in line with our knees. We just started, but if you want to bring your hands up so your arms are reaching forward, you can. It just makes things a little harder because your arms are a little bit heavy, right? It's like having weights in your hands. Like imagine if you added a 2 pound, 3 pound, 5 pound weight right now, it would make this harder. So with your arms here, you have a better sense of balance and you have less weight to hold on to. Now, if you bring your arms out or up, it gets increasingly challenging, especially for something we just started. Sit a little bit lower for 5, lift the toes, 4, and 3, 2, 1. Root your feet as you inhale, rise. Exhale, bring your hands down to the sides. How was that? You loved it? Okay, well, let's keep going on. This time we're going to bring our feet so they are a little bit more than hip distance apart. And we're going to go into that exact same pose, except for this wider stance. Horse pose. So you start to sink the hips, pushing them back. So I'm not just sinking my knees forward, right? My knees are trying to stay as close as I can over the ankles as I sink my hips down. I'm going to keep my hands to heart center. In fact, this is so challenging for me that I like to have my hands on my knees to make it a little bit easier. So I'm supporting my upper body by pushing down slightly into my knees. And over time, I get a little bit lighter, a little bit lighter, a little bit lighter. So the goal, if we can, is not to lean forward like this, but to really draw the chest up so we're sitting tall. So you might have to tuck the tailbone slightly here and sink the hips. Whew. Maybe you start to reach your hands out towards the front of the room. Maybe you reach your arms parallel with your ears. Oh my gosh, that is burning my legs, but you're still doing it, right? Yes, you're gonna still do it for 10 more seconds. If you get out like I did, come back down, come back down. Keep those hips low so they're in the same line as your knees. If you had a broom on your knees, it wouldn't roll off, right? It would stay right there for 5. Oh my gosh, 4, 3, 2, 1, root and rise. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, a little back bend here as you push the hips forward. Stay here for a little bit longer. We're trying to stretch all that lactic acid around, right? Woo. Exhale, mountain pose. I'm already hot. Are you guys hot? I'm sweating a little bit. Leslie, you need to work out more. I might. Inhale, sweeping your arms up, palms touch. Exhale, forward fold. Thank goodness that was not chair pose. Oh yes. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bring your hands down as you step that right foot back. Low lunge, dropping the knee down to the ground. Untucking the feet if you'd like. And sink, sink, sink. So you can see right here, my knee is super far forward over my ankle. So I'm going to scoot that front foot forward just enough where I can continue bending into that front knee and sinking my hips down a little bit deeper. So now I'm getting a deeper stretch along the side body. Exhale, shifting your hips back. Toes lift off the ground, half splits, half Hanuman. And you can sit up really tall, or you can fold forward. As you exhale, come back into that low lunge. Taking your hands down to the ground, letting the knee angle out. So if I have my knee and it's pushing into my arm, I'm going to take my knee out first, then bring the hand down for a lizard lunge. Maybe balancing on the pinky edge side of that left foot and letting that knee fall down, down, down to the ground. You can stay here or maybe come down to your forearms if you have the flexibility. If you'd like, tucking that back foot, lifting the knee, and then dropping it a little bit further behind you. So I simply move the leg a little bit further behind and drop it back down to untuck. So we're just increasing our range and flexibility here. Maybe start to shift your hips left to right, forward, backwards. And then tucking that back foot, hands back to frame your front foot. And for this one, let's bring our hands, so instead of downward facing dog where we have our hands out slightly, we're gonna bring our hands so the fingertips are slightly facing in. And the reason I'm gonna have you do that is because we're gonna do a little lizard push-up. So then drawing your chest down to the ground, coming down halfway, and then lift back up. Oh my gosh, can you bring your chest and your chin down to the ground? And back up. So you might be like, no, I'm not flexible enough. That's okay, go where you can. And then be strong and push yourself back up. Pivot your hands so they're slightly, fingertips are away from each other, root the back foot. Inhale, lift that left leg up high. Stack the hips, bend the knee. Inhale, lift the right heel off the ground. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. One more. Inhale, maybe that left knee goes up a little bit higher. And then exhale as you lengthen that left leg, dropping it down to the ground to meet the right. Downward facing dog. Feel free to walk your dog out here. Bending one knee, drawing opposite heel down at a time. Maybe rainbowing here, lifting both heels up and going to the right side. On the edge of both feet. If you can't feel it enough, bend the knees, keeping the hips lifted up and away. And you might feel a stretch along the left armpit, rib cage area, and then switch sides as you come back onto your toes and allow your feet to drop to the left. Pushing the hips up, bend the knees. The more you bend them, the deeper you'll feel the stretch. Last breath, coming to your downward dog. Inhale, send that right leg up high. Exhale, bring the right foot through. Drop the back knee. Low lunge. If your wrists are feeling a little bit tired, feel free to give some wrist circles. Shake, shake, shake. Hands can come to knee, or simply keep your fingertips on the ground. Soften where you can soften. Reposition that front foot if you need to go a little deeper or a little shallower, right? Every day is a little different. But we want to continue growing in our yoga practice. So if we constantly have our feet in the same location, then we're not giving our bodies enough challenge to lengthen in flexibility or to build strength. And then coming into your half Hanuman, walking your hands back as you lift the right toes off the ground. Half splits. Once again, you can sit up tall or forward fold, just depending on how you're feeling right now. If you forward fold, it's usually more flexibility. And if you lift up, it's a little bit more core compression, so strengthening here. And then back and forwards, low lunge, half Hanuman. Just for a moment or two. Lizard lunge. Hands come down to the ground. Make sure that knee can open up, externally rotating here. So we're gonna pivot that foot. So we're on the outside edge, pinky edge side of the foot. So you might stay here. You might bring your forearms down to an elevated surface, such as blocks or a box. Maybe you can find the ground. And explore to your heart's desire, scooting that back leg further away, leaning to the left and right. Each side is different too. So you might have a more open right side versus the left. Where can you soften the edges to find more space? And then taking your hands back down to the ground, preparing for those lizard push-ups. So my hands are going to be like this. So the fingertips are in. And then my downward dog, they go out slightly. Now for you, you might always have your hands, fingertips facing forward. That's okay. My wrists are a little finicky, so I move them around a little bit more in my practice. And I suggest trying to do the same because usually, it's not one size fits all here. So for those lizard push-ups, tuck the back foot, lift the knee. Make sure that that knee can still be on the outside so it's not hugging into your chest. And then start to come into chaturanga arms or bending down halfway. And then push into the ground, spider the fingers. And then go a little deeper. Maybe your chest and chin reach for the ground. And push, 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 push yourself up. One more. This is hard for men and women alike. We're all working on something. Yes. Pivot the hands, lift that right leg up for three-legged downward dog. Stack the hips, bend the knee. And 3 times lift the left heel and down again. Each time we're working on lifting that right knee a little higher into the ground, or into the air, I'm sorry. Unless the ground is upside down, right? Inhale, lengthen that right leg. Exhale, lower that foot. Downward facing dog. Inhaling here. Exhale, plank pose. Oh my goodness, please, please, Leslie, don't make us hold this forever. Okay, it's your choice. You can hold this here in a stationary plank pose, working on keeping the shoulders over the wrists, and maybe the heels push you slightly forward, way over the toes. Or if you want to be a little bit more movement-based, you can walk your plank by bending your knees. And I like to flip over the tops of my feet, a little bit of toe flexibility. Or if you want to do something else a little bit different, maybe you take your right hand to your left shoulder, crossing it over and down again. We're going to be here about another 10 seconds. Whatever you chose, whether it to be in one position, not moving around, or maybe you're moving to help you ignore the pain and the shaking. For 3, 2, and 1. Exhale, knees down, chest down, chin down, everything down. Bringing your hands down to your sides. Interlacing your fingers behind your back. Inhale, lift the chest. Can you bring your hands off your body? Squeezing your shoulder blades, your scapula, a little bit more together. Exhale, lower, releasing your hands back down to your sides. Bend the knees, windshield wiper, side to side. Keeping your knees bent, see if you can reach back and find your feet. For Dhanurasana, bow pose, walking your knees in so they might be touching. If not, no worries. And then inhale once again, lifting the head and the chest off the ground. And then after that, lift the knees. So we're lifting from 2 points, opposite of each other. Working on equanimity. Oftentimes it's easier to lift one side versus the other, so work on the one that's harder, kicking your feet into your hands. 3 more breaths. Exhale, lower, rest your other cheek, allow your feet to drop back down to the earth, and if you want to windshield wiper the feet, or shimmy the hips a little bit to release the low back, go ahead. Hands come back under the shoulders, tuck the toes. So we're going to work on pushing ourselves up into plank pose. Now, if you want to just go straight to child's pose, by all means, go ahead. But if you want to be practicing that pushing up strength, right? We don't always do that in yoga. So you might want to keep your knees down as you push yourself up. So hands come under shoulders. Pull your shoulder heads off the ground. So we're not hunching our shoulders forward here. We're pulling them away. Tuck the feet, push the knees down if you're going to keep your knees down on the ground. I'll show you that one first. And then push your hands into the ground and start to straighten the arms. Draw the belly button into the spine. Okay, how'd that go? If that was super, super, super hard, you're going to keep your knees down. If that was super, super, super easy, we're going to keep our knees lifted by tucking the feet and then walking our toes in closer to our hips. Keep walking them in. Once again, don't hunch the shoulders. Peel the shoulders back. Push your hands down. And then while you push the hands down, keep the belly engaged as you straighten your arms. Downward facing dog. You might want to do another one if you want. Go ahead. I'll wait for you. Not everybody's going to wait for you. Or they're going to be like, I'm going straight to down dog too. Inhale. Exhale, bending the knees. And then jumping your feet to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale. Chair pose. Leslie, I know. And coming all the way down to a seat this time. Sit bones down to the ground, kicking your feet out long. Staff pose. So staff pose is one of those deceptively simple looking poses, but it is not. It is not, okay? I promise you, if you are here long enough, you'll start shaking. As long as you're doing it right. There is no right or wrong way, but there is. Okay, so your hands are gonna come down to your sides. Maybe you have your fingertips right along the sides of your hips, pushing down, so we're not hunching. You're hearing that word a lot here, right? We could do this, right? I'm trying to reach my toes. Look at me. If I hunch over more, I'm going to pull a muscle and I'm going to say, oh, my back hurts. Why does my back hurt? Why? You wonder why? I'm overstretching these muscles that aren't ready for it, when all I have to do if I wanted to reach my toes is bend my knees and touch my feet, right? And then I can, ooh, my back likes that way more. But we're not going to do that right now, but I'm showing you what we do all the time. And we need to break that habit. So we bring our fingertips down to the ground because we want to work on strengthening these back muscles. So then we're not going to be in our forward fold. We're going to be strong. So hands come down to your sides as you push and root the sit bones down and lift the chest. Lift the heart. Lift the crown of the head. So we're sitting in a nice, tall shape, stacking the domes. With your legs, make sure to flex the feet so the toes are not only pointing up, but the heels are pushing away and the toes are reaching almost towards your head. So the heels are actively pushing that direction and the ball of the foot and the heels are reaching towards you. So we have this lengthening of the back body and the contraction of the front body. We're still sitting nice and tall. We're drawing our belly button in. So those floating rib bones, we're not letting them poke out. We're wrapping the rib cage in, and the distance between those hip bones and rib bones decreases slightly as long as we're still sitting tall. Once again, we're not hunching. We're sitting straight. Are you shaking yet? Squeezing everything towards the center for 5, 4, I'm shaking, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, slowly reach your hands towards your feet, still sitting straight. And we're gonna start to draw the back body down to the ground, slowly, so slowly. Even slower, my heels are dragging towards my body. They might even lift off the ground for this half boat. Half boat. I'm gonna float the foot, pushing through the balls of my feet. Maybe I push my palms down and start swimming here like a duck swim. Maybe your feet do the same. Oh my goodness. Maybe you want to reach your arms up overhead for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Exhale. Oh, close your eyes. Maybe shimmy your shoulders a little bit closer together. You earned this Shavasana. Allow your body to relax. Your toes can fall away from each other towards the outer corner edges of your mat. Puffing the chest up a little bit more and then re-dissolving back into the ground. Soften the jaw. Take an audible sigh through the mouth. That was a mini Shavasana. You can stay there longer if you'd like. Stay there as long as you need. And then before you get up to start your day, I recommend doing just a little bit of a supine twist. So taking your knees, scooting your hips over to the right, like a little swing, pushing your feet in, hips drop to the right a few, knees fall to the left, and then open out wide. And just doing that on each side. And then maybe recommit to Shavasana again. You can even wrap one leg around the other for eagle legs. Just know that it's a deeper stretch in the back body. And so you might feel a tug in that psoas QL area. And if it feels too intense, unwind the legs. Pulling a little bit more from the hips and the head, creating more length, and then switching sides. Hips scoot over to the left, knees fall to the right, gaze to the left. And you might still be in that beautiful resting Shavasana. You might re-enter it and stay here as long as your family will let you, keeping your eyes closed and just following the trail of your breath as it travels through your body. On the inhale, rooting, and on your exhale, notice as the breath leaves the body. I'm not going to awkwardly lay here with you for 10 minutes, and my kids will bother me sooner than that. So thank you for joining me today. I love you all. Give somebody a hug. Love you. Namaste.
If you loved the video, show me some love by liking, commenting, and sharing.